Hello and welcome to your Rangers review podcast on Four Lads Had a Dream. My name's Andrew. I'm joined by my two very favourite co-hosts. First of all, Andy, how are you doing, mate?
I'm doing well, thanks. As always, a pleasure to be on.
Lovely stuff. And Kenny, always good to have you as well, mate.
Hi, Andrew. Hope you're well, mate.
I'm very well. Could be better given the circumstances, but hey, anytime we're talking after Rangers get a win, that's always really nice. So, without any further ado, let's dive right into it. Obviously, we're talking about Rangers' 3-1 win over Ross County. Going into this, Andy, we obviously had the opportunity to go top of the league. We didn't quite achieve that, I think, despite like a fairly strong effort to do so. But ultimately, it's 3 points. We're level on goal difference. We're level on points. Before we dive into the game itself, I mean, from your perspective, are you happy enough with that? Are you at a position where you're throwing the pram out or anything like that? Or is it just a case of, like, this is still February, we're not in May yet?
No, listen, it'd be nice to get the 3 goals and go top of the league. I think the atmosphere and the crowd would have reacted to that. And I think that actually kind of set the expectation going into the game. We weren't happy just to win. But no, I think as you stand back from it overall, take the 3 points, keep the pressure on. And I think anything else was a bonus because, going top and 1 goal, that can fluctuate week to week as much as it would have been nice. No, just keep winning. That's the most important thing from here on in. And actually, as we'll talk about soon, a good performance as well to go with it.
100%, and we will definitely talk about some of the record-setting aspects of this game when we get into it. But Kenny, in terms of the lineup, then, I mean, this is starting to look more like a settled first choice 11. Butland in goals, Tav, Goldson, Suter, Ridvan in the defence, Lawrence and Lundstrom as the kind of holding midfielders, if you like, Cantwell, McCausland and Matondo as the attacking mids, and then Dessers up top. I mean, from my perspective, that almost looks... It's certainly the core of the players who Phil has been using so far. But what did you make of the lineup? Do you think that any of these guys are going to drop out in terms of our new signings coming in? What's your take on
it? Yeah. Listen, I think Clement has already said many times he's going to rotate that squad. He's going to use as everybody, and everybody's going to get minutes. I think looking at it, Tom Lawrence in that new position, Diamondi kind of plays there, so you'll see that change, I think. You've got Raskin sitting there waiting to come in, Silva and Dessers, chopping and changing. The boy Cortez, I know Matondo is out for the weekend, so I would expect Cortez to play. Listen, the new signings all look handy and tidy. I'll really like the look of the boy Cortez when he come on, but the starting lineup, I thought, didn't surprise me. The only thing, I said this last week as well, but the only thing I thought he might start Silva instead of Dessers. Kind of glad he didn't, oddly enough, going by the first half. But, listen, there isn't any huge surprises now because he's changing 4, 5, 6 and 7 at a time. And everybody's getting minutes, Andrew. And it's good to see.
No, 100%. We'll get straight into the events of the game. Just to reassure anyone who's looked at the runtime, we're not going to be going through every single chance in the game because there were 23 shots on target. We've told Stevie already that we won't do a podcast longer than 20 minutes unless it's a special occasion. This was a nice game. It wasn't that special. We're not going to blow our load on that just yet. So we'll get right into it, Andy. 5 minutes in, we have absolutely started off on the front foot, and Cyriel Dessers comes up with a really phenomenal finish after a ball in from Tav. He has to do really well to control this. Does it off his shoulder, his head, gets it down for like a really good thing to finish. And 5 minutes in, we're 1-0 up. I mean, perfect start, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The perfect start. And as you say, it was a great goal. The ball in from Tav, but it's Dessers' movement that makes it. One thing I think we'll touch on we'll see with all the chances is his movement's actually really good. He gets into some really, really good positions. And as you say, not an easy one. The ball's coming over his shoulder. He takes it in, chest, head, leg, whatever. And then just calmly lofts it over the goalkeeper. A really, really good finish. And I think it's just becoming typical of him now that the harder chances are the ones he seems to enjoy taking. And the ones where he's got time and, a bit more of the goal to aim at are the ones he's struggling with. But no, it was a real quality goal all round. And as you say, the perfect start, especially when you're hunting a few goals in the game.
No doubt. It's a case of the Kenny Millers, just if it's an easy shot, well, I'll obviously miss that. If it's a horribly complicated one, definitely scoring that. So it's weird, but gets us off starting the right foot. Unfortunately, Kenny, the next goal that we get is not for us, despite the level of chances that we've already had in this first half. And we were playing very aggressively, very front forward. Ross County, who don't have a manager, throw a ball forwards. And Simon Murray does, I think, really well here to get on the end of a cross that I think neither Suter or Goldson really covered themselves in glory in terms of dealing with. And Butland's kind of helpless to do anything about this. 30 minutes in and it's 1-1. The red lights start flashing at that point, mate?
No, it's just utter disbelief, I think. Genuine disbelief. It was the first time they had literally come into our half. Listen, we had a wee chat on the group chat, didn't we? I think there's a couple that think Suter's at fault. I think Conor Goldson should do better, but I've got to be honest. I think he should close that cross down. But then if you're being ultra picky and, analysing it, you're looking at it and saying, why is your right centre half over in the left back position to a certain degree? I think, listen, we discussed it last week, guys, didn't we? It's this long ball over the top. We're just not dealing with it. I don't really know what to say. I'm going to criticise John Suter for getting caught underneath the ball yet again for the umpteenth time. It seems to be a slight problem in his game. I will look at Conor Goldson and just say I don't think he's fully committed to stopping that cross. I think if anything, he could just take the boy out. He could take Brophy out, give them a corner, be all set back up again. But he's just a wee bit nonchalant about it, perhaps. I don't know. I also think Tavernier should come across to help Suter if you're going to be really analytic about it. But look, give Ross County the benefit. It is cracking piece of work from Murray, the boy's name is, isn't it? A wonderful cross in from Brophy, got to say, and a brilliant finish, actually. It's an absolutely top drawer finish. He just bangs it right in the roof of the net. You're like, well, keeper's not got an earthly. It's just give Ross County the benefit of the doubt. It's a good goal, but we've got to do better, Andrew. We all know that. We've got to tighten up.
Yeah.
I
think from my perspective, Kenny, I've had a chance to think about it, and obviously it's disappointing that we keep losing that same type of goal, right? From my perspective, we leave ourselves exposed like that because we are playing so much on the front forward, and that's why we've got players out of position. Our two centre backs are also covering, the left and right back areas because our left and right backs are up playing as wingers. So I know that it's not an excuse, but it is part of the reason why that's happening. I think for me, it's the fact that we are not scoring enough at the other end, because then it means, if we score 4 and they get 1, that's fine. But it's the fact that we only managed to score 1 in that first half hour, and they've gone up and been. I think it's a combination of fortune and also skill, because I don't want to take anything away from the ability of the player. He does do well to get the goal, but it is because we are playing so much on that front foot. So yeah, it's a difficult one because you don't want to apply a handbrake. Let's say we want to keep that handbrake off, I believe. So yeah, I don't know. It's I got mixed feelings about it. Let's say that, Kenny.
Look, again, as I said, give Ross County the benefit of the doubt. It is a cracking goal, Andrew. From their perspective, it's wonderful. From ours, we can do better.
We continued to be, I think, quite profligate during that first half because our next goal, after some considerable time wasting as well from Ross County, which fair enough, they want to hold on to something. In the 50th minute, still in the first half, Dessers manages to get on the end of a Tav cross, or a corner, I believe, and manages to deflect a header into the back of the net. It's 2-1, and we go straight into half-time. Andy, I mean, you never like to say it's justice done, but it was kind of hilarious how much time Ross County wasted, and it enabled us to finally get that chance right at the death of the first half.
Yeah, I kind of had to laugh at Cowie talking about the added time, and you're thinking, well,
where did that come from?
If you didn't waste time from the first minute, you might have got into half-time level exactly. But yeah, again, it's a decent goal. One of the harder ones for Dessers again, and I think it just takes a wee nick off one of the defenders on the way in. But given some of the chances we created, and he missed and the others missed during the game, it was a very welcome goal when it came at that time, because I always think you go in at half time, sometimes you come out, it's hard to get going, and that just lifts the whole mood again. As you go into the dressing room, as the fans start the second half, it lifts the place again, and suddenly again you're chasing goals, or at least we should have been. And no, I mean, good for Dessers as well. I think I think he's just going to be one of these players, one of these enigmas, a bit like Sakala in a sense, that you know you're going to get the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you've just got to wait for the goals to come, and I think just put up with some of the misses as they go along. So
I think that's the thing, Andy. We've got this kind of situation where we can get really frustrated at him, but in terms of his performance during the game, he's got 2 goals. He's had another couple of really good opportunities that he's either been unfortunate the keeper saved or he's put it onto the post. So it's a really weird one.
I didn't think I'd say this at the start of the season, but I actually like Cyriel Dessers. I think there's a good bit about him, and he is going to miss chances. We know that. You see the one where he hits the post when the other side of the goal's gaping and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But he puts himself in there, he gets himself about, and his goal scoring record and his goal contribution since Clement came in is actually pretty excellent. He's really contributing, and as I say, I think we've just got to put up with some of the more frustrating elements, because that's not unusual at our level.
No, indeed. Kenny, then, a word for Cyriel?
I thought he was excellent, to be honest with you. I thought he played really well on the night. But can I just say something? The two you make a cracking point about the time wasting, and it's something I wanted to pick up on last week. That there's this rule down in England now. Have you noticed this? That that any kind of time wasting at all is getting punished. It's a yellow card. I seen it with Ben White in the Arsenal-Liverpool game last week, and he barely took 10, 12 seconds, something like that, for a throw-in, and the referee warned him and then booked him. This has got to get implemented up in Scotland. Watch them speed up all of a sudden, because it is from the first minute. We all know this. It's from the first minute to the last. These teams are just taking forever to do anything at all, and it's got to stop. But it is becoming a real bad look for our game up here. I think, to be honest with you, I think it's a terrible, terrible thing that's happening. It's worse now than it's probably ever been, Andrew. That's why I wanted to bring it up.
No, for sure. And I think I was notable because I think it was just after our first goal. We went up the park, didn't get the shot away, unfortunately, but they got a goal kick out of it. The referee did come over and warn the keeper about wasting time. I do recall that. But then nothing happened after that. So as you say, Kenny, I think getting a bit more stringent about it would be good. But at the same time, it was hilarious to get the goal back in extra time. Yeah. So, I'm torn. So we go in halftime 2-1, come out in the second half. And I think, there's no need to go over every single moment here because we'd be at it for another half hour. But, we obviously had chance after chance. And I think, for me, that's probably the best 90-minute performance that I've seen from this team underneath Phil Clement, because we created so many opportunities. And, we've got some of the records that we set during this game as well. It's the most Premier League saves in the new incarnation of the Premier League since 2013. Highest shots on target, highest number of shots in a game since this incarnation of the league started. So it was not a lack of effort, a lot of application here, Andy. I think it's a number of combinations in terms of being unfortunate. A keeper had a game of his life against us, and we've got a striker who we've previously discussed as being somewhat wasteful in front of goal. So I think the point was that it did make it all the sweeter when in the 92nd minute, after yet another set piece that we think is going nowhere, Suter, scoring his second ever goal for the club, gets his head on the ball and puts it into the back of the net. Andy, I'll come to you first, but I want to get both your takes on this. What do you feel at that point? Given that we still, at that point, also had another 5 minutes to play of extra time, do you feel relief? Do you still want us to chase for that extra goal? Or are you just happy that we've actually looked like we've properly secured this? Because Ross County had about 2 or 3 chances where it looked like they could potentially tie this up. So was there just a sense of relief at that point?
Yeah, I think that was overriding emotion at that point, because we've seen these games before when you're missing chance after chance, or the keeper's having an inspired night. Suddenly you can see the corner, and a record in those things isn't great. So no, it was definitely a relief, I think, just to tie up the 3 points. And while there was a few minutes left, it'd have been nice to push on and get an extra goal. But no, I think it was just relief, get the win in the bag and move on. We deserved at least a third goal. We could have had 6, 7, 8, God knows how many on the night.
Exactly, yeah.
And not quite direct from a set piece, but a secondary ball in, I suppose, at least. So we've scored a few of those, but it was one of the stats. I think it was put to the manager today, actually, with the set pieces, and they said it was something they were looking at, because when you get so many corners and you don't really do much with them, not a lot of first contacts or shots on target from them. It's nice to get a wee bit of reward at the end, at least after a game where we should have really put it to bed, an hour before then.
And Kenny, for you, I mean, what were your emotions at the full-time whistle then?
Listen, lads, I'm going to be honest. I thought we played really, really well on the night. I thought we were worthy of a 5, 6, 7 goal victory, And look, you've got to be honest and say that having seen where we were 4 months ago and watching that kind of performance, because I honestly think domestically that's the best performance I've seen in a few years, actually. I thought we were really good on the night. Disappointed to lose a goal, obviously. Disappointed to only score 3 when you could have had a cricket score. You could have racked up however many. There was 3, 4, maybe 5 absolutely stunning saves for the kid. There's a lot of strikes from outside the box that went right down his throat. They were hit really well, but he's got them no problem. Getting the third goal, it was relief. I've already told you before we started recording that with 10 minutes to go, I was not got any hair. But if I did that, I would have been pulling it out because I was going. I don't normally get too frustrated or hit up watching Rangers these days, but by gosh, was I getting frustrated on the night because I could just see, that way the worst case scenarios just unfolding in front of your eyes, and they're going to get, as Andy says, they're going to end up getting a corner or something like that. And watch this, but utter relief, total delight, and came out thinking, wow, we were really, really good on the night. And Andrew, got to say.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. We can take that. If we can take that level of performance into our games for the rest of the season, then things look very promising indeed. We obviously know that we're going to be playing after they do this weekend. They'll be up against Killy on Saturday. We play St Johnstone midday on Sunday. So potentially, there's going to be another gap that we have to conquer there. But we are in a situation now where we are, at the moment, as things stand, level on goal difference. We're level on points. So, hell, this is a title race, something I don't think any of us would have put folding money on back in October or September. So things look very promising. Just before we finish up, I want to have a quick word for Tav, because as a captain of the club, he's set up all 3 of these goals. And, it's the kind of thing that I think kind of goes under the radar a little bit in what he does and how polarizing sometimes he can be amongst certain members of the support. But I just want to take a quick moment to shout him out. A hat-trick of assists for our goals in that, and responsible for a lot of driving that play forward as well. So, just wanted to shout that out. But we are at our time. So, first of all, I will thank my 2 lovely co-hosts. First of all, Kenny, mate, appreciate you coming on as ever.
No, thank you, Andrew. It was nice to be back on. Enjoyed that. And cheers, Andy.
Yeah, and Andy, again, a pleasure as always, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Kenny.
Lovely stuff, boys. And finally, to thank you guys, the listeners. You've been backing us in your numbers. You've been downloading. Clearly, you've been sharing. And we also got our podcast shared on the BBC News Sports Gossip page as well, citing us in one of their articles, which was bizarre, but it's helping the traffic along. So, that's always good too. We appreciate everything that you guys do in terms of sharing, liking, subscribing, following on all the various platforms, wherever you can get your podcasts. So we appreciate that. We encourage you to do so. And until we talk to you again, bye for now. Four Lads Bite Size Podcast is exclusively sponsored by Rhino Express in association with Zenith Coins, Alexander Campbell Interiors and Wrenches Pools. Please don't forget to drop us a like and a follow if you enjoy all our content, and if you're listening on a podcast channel, please subscribe as it really helps the podcast grow. We hope you enjoyed the show. Bye for now.